Good evening, everyone. Just trying to tidy things up. Good evening, everyone. I thought I'd do a live tonight because I wanted to discuss about for those people who want to do their own application without a lawyer, and to give them tips on what to do so they don't waste money. Okay, because I've had a lot of inquiries about immigration application that they've done themselves, and which is clearly you know, an incorrect application, for example, or they haven't provided evidence, or they have misinterpreted the Home Office letter, for example. So just to cite an example, one client, you know, messaged me on Messenger and asked, what are the requirements for applying for indefinite leave to remain? I've had this visa for 5 years, and she thought that she would be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain because she has had the visa for 5 years. So so I always, when clients ask me about what they can do, I always ask, you know, give me a copy of what you've received. Because even though you are a spouse, you are on a spouse visa, you're married to somebody who has who is settled or British citizen, and you think that, oh, because you're married to that person, you think that because you've had a 2.5-year visa, you think that automatically you will be able to apply for indefinitely to remain in 5 years time, which is not the case, because as you know, they have changed the rules. It used to be that you could just apply after 3 years you've been married to a British citizen or somebody settled, but they've changed that now, so that one route is 5-year route and the other route is a 10-year route. The 5-year route is the straightforward application where your spouse or you as an applicant has complied with the mandatory requirements that the Home Office has set. So this will be the English language requirement and the financial requirement. So if you have complied with those and you are given a spouse visa, the letter that accompanies your residence card will have an indication whether you're on a 5-year route or on a 10-year route, okay? And for those who have not really complied with those requirements, then so the Home Office will just grant you the visa, but not under the 5-year route. So that means it would take you 10 years to get the indefinite leave to remain. So for this client, she thought you could just apply, okay? And when I read the letter, it was not even, she thought it was a grant of a spouse visa, but it was a completely different category. It was a discretionary grant, which is really different from, you know, the normal visa that the Home Office issues. So you have, it's hard to explain it, but the Home Office has a discretion. That means they can, if they want, they can grant you the visa even though you don't comply with the rules, and that's what discretion means, okay? So you may hear cases like, oh, but you know, this person, how come she receives the visa and I haven't? And you know, because you don't know the circumstances. There may be some circumstances that when the Home Office caseworker has looked at it, they exercise their discretion. They think that this person should be granted a visa even though they have not complied with the rules. And that was what it was, okay? So if she didn't consult me, if she just proceeded with the application for indefinite leave to remain, she would have wasted more than £2,000. And so if you're not sure about whether or not you should apply, read whatever letter you received. If you don't understand it, don't just assume that your interpretation is correct, because sometimes letters from the Home Office are very technical. They contain terms, words that only, you know, immigration lawyers would be able to understand and interpret it, and let you know what it means. So that's one. The other one was, I think I mentioned it before in one of my videos. This person, she overstayed here, firstly. So this is her history. She overstayed, and then she got married to a British citizen. After she got married, she applied for a spouse visa, and as you know, it's only valid 2.5 years. So when the 2.5 years expired, she did not renew it. Okay, she thought that because she married a British citizen, she could just live here without renewing her visa. I don't know, for some reason she thought that. So anyway, so she overstayed, and then nothing happened. They decided to then move to her home country. And while she was outside of the UK, living in her home country with her husband sadly died. Okay, but I think there was some, business that she had to return to come to the UK to maybe apply for grant of probate, deal with the pensions, whatever that needed to be dealt with. So she came here, but she applied for a visitor's visa, which is the only visa category that you can apply if you're outside the UK and you want to come back to the UK, for emergency. The Home Office would grant you that visa. So she came here on a visitor's visa to deal with her husband's estate, and then she thought that she could just apply because I don't know what made her think, or who advised her. She thought that she could apply for indefinite leave to remain, and she did apply for indefinite leave to remain after she came to the UK on a visitor's visa. She did not consult a lawyer. She just sent the application, and the application came back naturally refused, and she lost her 2,200 pounds. So so those are the two kind of extreme cases that I've found. And I don't want, some of these applications you can do yourselves. If you've been married, you've done it before, and you know exactly what the requirements are, then you can do it yourself without a lawyer. But if you're not sure, if there is some things that you're really not sure, I think it's better to pay, I don't know, 200 pounds, go and see a lawyer, go and see someone who has experience in these applications, just to have it checked. Okay, not necessarily instruct them, give them all the documents, complete the form yourself. Some of these forms, the forms are very straightforward if you read them properly, question by question. If there are questions that you're not sure, that doesn't apply to you, then maybe highlight those and bring them to a lawyer. Pay 150, 200 pounds, however much a lawyer would charge. But I doubt that they would charge more than like 200 pounds just to check the what you're doing is correct. Some lawyers may say, well, we don't do these things, but others, I'm sure others do. Go and consult them, and don't waste your money to pay to the Home Office, because once you make a mistake, that you won't get the 2,000 pounds back. Okay, so I said tips. Okay, it is a very straightforward. This is a very straightforward tip to say, because I can't go through every application. What to do. It's basically, if you're not sure what you're doing, do not send the application and give your money to the Home Office. Make sure you are absolutely certain that what you're doing is correct. Okay, before you hand in your money and waste that money. So for other applications, again, it is also expensive, because you've got 1,000 pounds. 1,000 pounds you have to pay for other applications. Okay, so that's one. The other one I wanted to talk about is the immigration health surcharge. If you have made an application before and you paid health surcharge, 500 pounds for 2.5 years. If you've been refused, you are entitled for a refund. Your lawyers are supposed to, return them to you. Your lawyers are supposed to tell you that, it's refundable. If in the last I don't know, 5 years, you've had an application and it's been refused and you paid this amount of money, then go back to your lawyer and ask them for the refund. Okay, you are entitled to the refund. It's £500, or if it's 1 year, then it's £200 that you paid. But if you have been refused before and you haven't heard from your lawyer, contact them and ask them for a refund. Okay, I've seen many people coming here. Hello everyone. Sorry. Hello Elena. Any questions that you have while I'm here? I've got, how long have I been? 10 minutes. So another 5 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll answer them. But for another thing I wanted to talk about is for those who are on spouse visa, who are scared to lose their visa because the relationship is not going very well, and you think that your spouse may either file for divorce or inform, hello Marilyn, or inform the Home Office that your relationship has broken down. Okay, so the position or if you are in that situation is that your visa will still be valid. Hi Mark. The position is that if you are married and you're not divorced, okay, you can still continue to stay in the UK, and if your husband or your spouse, your wife, files for divorce, then your visa, you are kind of entitled to stay in the UK until the divorce proceedings are completed. So for those, I've had one recently where he was quite, he was very worried that he may get divorced because he didn't know what his position would be if because the relationship was broken down, and what he can do. So in those circumstances, you wait until the divorce has gone through, and if the wife or the husband has filed for divorce, then if you think that there is a ground for defending it, then defend it, and make sure that you also do the financial proceedings if there are assets to be divided, and after the divorce is finalized, which is the decree absolute, then your visa becomes invalid, and you have 28 days to either apply for another category, which at the moment is quite difficult to apply for another category unless you've been in the UK for, let's say, I don't know, 10 years, and you can then apply for a long-term residence if during those 10 years you've had a visa. Otherwise, you can apply for family or private life, but you need to provide a lot of evidence to show that you've established life in the UK. Okay, so well, it doesn't look like there's any questions. Okay, just a reminder as well, because I have had so many questions, so are coming through. People messaging me, and I had so questions. I just answered them straight away. But just for the benefit of those who are watching, there is a question about somebody, if you have a dependent child who you want to come and stay with you in the UK, what are the options for them to join you? So if they are over 18, they are considered as independent, and therefore it really is hard to argue your case that they should be allowed to stay in the UK. You can try and make an application, but the result will be the same. Okay, no matter how unless there is an extreme circumstances, like for example, he has nobody in your home country, absolutely no one, he's all alone, and he is, I don't know, maybe let's say disabled, or he needs care, then you can argue that he should be with you. But even with even with those, it's not an automatic grant, so you have to really argue your case, and you may have to go all the way to, you know, court of appeal if the lower courts have made errors of in law in deciding your appeals. It's not automatic, but there's an argument. There's an argument that you can use. But if there's nothing, like they're working, or you know, they're working and they're over 18, there really isn't anything you can use to argue, because they, by law, they're considered independent, and it's difficult for although as much as you want them to stay with you, because they're part of the family, and you know, some cultures have very, you know, close-knit family, and you want them, even though they're over 18, you want them to be, you know, near you and so on. But in the UK, they are considered as independent, and therefore it will be difficult to let them stay, to argue to let them stay. Okay. How to apply my son? Yeah. So if you have a son if you want to sponsor your family to come to the UK, it's basically just showing, you know, this is a difficult part, because I did one recently, an application for visitor's visa for my client's son to join her, even if it's just for, you know, like 4 weeks while he was having his summer holiday. But unfortunately that was refused, because the Home Office thought that you know, his family is here, his mother is here, and then they thought that he wasn't going to go back to his home country. For son, you of course you can try to apply for a visitor's visa, and you can do it online, and you need to provide proof that what's the reason for him visiting you. You have to explain why. And if he is in school, then he needs to make sure that, you know, there's a school letter to say that he can come. So if you're applying, for example, now or during school term, then there must be a strong reason why he's not going to be going to school, but he's coming to the UK. So you need to kind of coincide it with, let's say, holidays. If you have, if they are attending school, so let's say Christmas, then apply, you know, for that during that, before Christmas, and say, you know, you're inviting them for Christmas, but not during school, you know, school term, because that will be refused automatically. Okay, Tiger Lily Cool, you know, message me and let me know if you private message me if you want to know more information about your son's application to visit the UK. Okay. Any other questions while I'm here? 2 minutes. So no questions. But well, thanks very much for joining me, and I hope you all have a lovely evening. It's kind of chilly and it's getting darker and it's windy, so I'm gonna sign off. But I don't know for some of you who are who know, but I have created a page for those who want to know about UK immigration, bail, detention, and deportation. There's a page that I've created separately. If you want to join, I will be posting some information there, update and information there on, you know, on who can be detained, how to apply for bail, how to stop deportation, and all those things, because it really is, you know, it is really at the moment the hostile environment that Theresa May has created. I think it's just beginning. Okay, so, and I think people should be prepared for it. You know, I mean, today I had a call from somebody who's been visited by police officers. Apparently, about 20. She said something like 30 of them. 30 police officers coming to the house. Unfortunately, she was living with other, you know, illegal immigrants. I wouldn't say these words, but undocumented migrants, overstayers, And apparently they came, these policemen came, and they, you know, they all got arrested apart from her, because she had a two-year old baby. And so she called me, and you know, this is just one of those cases. So I don't know whether the Home Office has a target locally, and so they, you know, the police resources are being used to collect, I'm saying collect, these undocumented migrants, irregular migrants, and get detained. Okay, so join me in there. This week I will be doing one live, and we will, you know, we will discuss it. Well, I will be giving you information. Hopefully it will be useful, because there's a recent case as well, a recent case about Home Office incompetence, and how even though the person voluntarily wanted to leave the UK, she still was detained. She was detained, and yeah, she was detained. So just to let you know how the Home Office is working. Okay, guys, have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye bye.